Hello and welcome to another Redpex training video. In this video we are going to discuss how to edit features and how to edit observations and how to customize the properties of the feature and of the observation, and then also we're going to discuss how to work with associated data for features and for observations. If we talk about features, we have to discuss the term feature type in the first step. You know, in Redpex there are a lot of feature types. If you look to my opened Redpex interface, you will find on the right side the Data Domain Explorer, and this is the site where you have one opportunity to see all the feature types which are available in Redpex, and you see there are quite a lot of feature types. We have types for document management. There are more general feature types like distance, strain, temperature, etc. And then there are also very special feature types for geotechnics, for surveying, like measurement feature types, and tunneling feature types, geological situation on heading phase, etc. I would like to discuss with you what is the difference actually between those features. So where do they differ from each other, and what is the beyond structure, where can I find the difference in the structure of the features and of the observations. Therefore, I introduce you to open the documentation of Redpex. I opened it already in my browser. If you open the chapter for the application server, then you will find under the topic content two different chapters for features and observations, and there you will find also a chapter which is called feature data and another one for observations which is called observation data, which explains exactly which data are stored with the feature, which data actually define the feature itself. To have a better overview, I decided to copy those two tables together. I would like to show you them. Let me quickly recall this image. Well, now we have here those two tables. On the left side the feature data structure, on the right side the observation data structure. You can see they have something in common. There is some identification data on both sides. We also have base data and we have extended data. And before you see this red-orange entry in this table, both of them have the possibility to store spatial data if spatial data is supported by the feature type or the observation of this feature type, and also if you as a user who created the coding feature allowed the feature to have spatial data. The identification data for the feature is a unique key, a unique number which is stored to the database, which doesn't bother you anymore. It's done by the system, and of course you have the possibility to give a feature a name, and the name is also part of the identification data. On the other side, the observation data also consists of an ID, but there is no name for an observation. There is only a timestamp which uniquely identifies the observation. The base data consists of some description on the side of the feature. The observation has, for example, the used sensor for the observation in the base data, and then the spatial data on both sides can consist of geometry of a line or a dot or multiple dots. And the interesting part in our session now is the so-called extended data, because the extended data gives the structure for the actual feature type on the side of the observation and also on the feature itself, because also the feature itself can have extended data, and we will see it right in the next screen how this looks like. A little outlook for the future. You see the feature data can also have data concerning relations, so features can have relations to each other, and this will be a topic of one of the following videos of our Redpex training videos. The other entries which are here in gray text we don't bother in this video. We will take them also in another video. So let's return to our interface and have a look how this different data, the identification data, base data, extended data, and also spatial data can be found in the Redbacks interface. I provided two different features of two different types for this. On one hand, I have a groundwater level feature here, and on the other hand, I have the geological heading phase documentation feature to be to demonstrate this different kind of data and see where the difference will be. Now let's open the groundwater level feature. It will open in our feature editor, which consists of a toolbar. The toolbar gives me the possibility to save changes, to make some reporting. We will do this in another video. I can also add this open feature to my current selection. We did this, I think, in the first or in the second video. So I can build up my own selection here, maybe save it for later, or just have my features in an own selection here. And beyond, we see the information bar, the info bar, and this tells me on which project, on which coordinate system this feature relies to. And then we have already the first tab, which shows me the base data, but also including, of course, the identification data, which is here in the same tab. We can see the ID of our feature, we can see when it was created, we see the type, and if used also the subtype, we can see which data domain this feature is stored to. We can see and we can edit the name and also the description. We could change the default sensor, and then we can see also the spatial data. So we can see this feature has support for spatial data. We can enter any point or geometry here, and if we would like to know in which system these numbers or these figures here should be interpreted, we again have to look to the information bar, and there we see, okay, whatever coordinates are given here, we have to interpret them according to a project coordinate system WGS84 Pseudo-Mercator. On the next tab, I can see the extended data of this feature type, and we see that the feature type groundwater level has some extended data, which means some data which defines the feature itself. And you can see there's bearing tip, aquifer type, the drill hole type, the filter length, etc. So some more information which defines the feature itself. We are not here on the observation level. This still is data which defines the feature on itself. The next tab shows me the observations which are done in this feature already. We have here one observation stored. Observations can be displayed in two different ways. Now we see here the tabular view, but we have also the possibility to show the features in a so-called single view. And if you switch over to the single view, we will see that existing observations are listed up in one certain area of the interface and are identified by the timestamp. And if I click one of these stored observations, then I see on the right side interface which shows me the data of this feature. And here I can see on the first side the same structure as we had on the feature itself. Also the observation shows me in the first place the identification data of the observation, which is the timestamp in the first and the most important thing. And then we have the base data, and the extended data consists here of two properties, which is the water level and some standard comment. So now let's have a look to another feature type, which is the geological heading phase documentation. We will see that even if the interface looks alike, we will see that the data is quite different here. Again, we have the same interface, the same editor for the feature, and we have here again the base data as the same as we had on the groundwater level feature. We have an ID, we have the created on timestamp, we have the type, etc. Also the name and some default sensor. But if you switch over now to the extended data, we see that the geological heading phase documentation feature does not have any extended data on feature level, meaning there is no sense to define something in an extended data. It's not necessary. If we move over to the Observations tab, we again have the possibility to show the observations in single view or in tabular view. Let's keep it on a single view for the first go. And if I select this first observation here, we will see the same structure again as we had on the groundwater level. The observation starts with its identification data. We have the sampling timestamp, we have some erroneous flag, some sensors. Then again we have spatial data. Now we see the spatial data does not consist of x, y and z coordinates, but there is some offset. So if we would like to know in which context we have to interpret this spatial data, we look to the info bar and there we see, okay, this feature is based on an axis reference system which is called drive, and this drive is based on an axis which is called simple axis, and the origin of the simple axis is 0 and the direction is not inverted, and we have horizontal mode and whatever. So this is the reference system this feature relies on, and this is the way I have to interpret these values in the spatial data section. And after the spatial data section we have extended data, and now we can see that in the geological heading phase documentation, extended data is quite some big numbers of properties. We have here round length, round number, some text properties, and we can also see we have here a special new way of displaying properties. We have here the possibility to build some hierarchical order of properties by this control, which gives me the possibility to add more than one lithology to one observation. So if we look at this browse tool here, I can see we have in total 3 lithologies defined, and using these keys, these key arrow buttons, I can switch between these 3 sets of lithology data. So we have now here a hierarchical structure of extended data. The same goes with discontinuities, water influx, rock mass and samples. So what would now happen if I decide to display this feature data in our tabular view? Let's just figure it out. Let's just try it. I now have the possibility to see the observation in a tabular view. One row here is again one observation, but as a tab does not allow to display hierarchical data, everything which is in a hierarchical way, for example the lithology, will not be displayed in this type of display the data. So again I switch back to the single view, and here again then I can see the whole structure of my observation data. I have another possibility to choose how to display this data. You see here on the first place of my extended data I have a little angle on the top, and if I hover my mouse on it, I have 2 different little switches where I can choose between an hierarchical list or an hierarchical form. The hierarchical form is the one which is displayed right now, which means I have some controls for these hierarchical elements and I can browse through them using the arrow keys. And let me show you the other one, the hierarchical list. There you will see that I just have a list and every hierarchical element is just listed up. Now I have the 3 items of lithology just listed one by one, one after one, and I can just scroll through them and see them. And of course I can switch back to the other one. So Redbox gives me the possibility to configure the properties of my extended data in a way I would like to do it. And if we think about configuring this extended data, we have to recall another term we already had before, I think, in another video. This is the term of the data domain context. This actually is a possibility to group or to select specific features. This is not actually is very simple. All what is meant by this data domain context is if I change if I select a data domain, then I automatically select all the features which are stored to this data domain. If I then select a feature type, then I mean every feature which is within this selected data domain of this special feature type. And then again, if I use some feature subtype, I internal select all the features which are stored to the database, which are stored to my root data domain, which are of this selected data type and which are of this selected subtype. And now for this group of features I can define I would like to have a special setting for my properties of the extended data, and this setting is called property structure configuration, and I can edit my property structure configuration on two sides, because we have seen we have extended data on one side for the feature itself, and we also could have extended data for the observation. And so we have two different menu entries. One is edit the feature property structure configuration, and the other one is edit the observation property structure configuration. I would like to start with the observation property structure configuration, and therefore I will choose the geological heading phase feature, because there we have a lot of properties and we can use them to see how this works. Now again I open the context menu, open the menu property structure context, and there I choose to edit the observation property structure configuration. If I open this, I get a new window which shows me now the structure, all the properties which are part of the extended data of my feature type geological heading phase situation. And now I can define for every property in this structure I have some options. For example, I can define that I would like to have the round lengths mandatory. I can decide I would like to have some display settings. I can change the name of the round lengths of this property in my interface. I can add some description. I can change the sequence number, which changes the sequences of the properties being displayed in the user interface. And some more properties. I can set the default value, which then would be displayed if whenever I generate a new observation. And also I can set up some validation rules, and the validation rules depend on which type of property I would like to set up the rules. For example, in this case I have a numerical property. Then I can set minimum and maximal value. For example, I decide the round length has to be between 0 and 3, for example. Then I set it up like this, and also have the possibility to set up some visual appearances which would be chosen for some evaluations later on. If I choose another property of type text, then you will see I have different possibilities now. Again, I can set up a default value, I can set up a validation rule, but now I don't have minimum and maximum value, but minimum and maximum length. And also there is the possibility to enter some regular expression which has to fit, which the text has to fit to be a valid value for this property general notes. In that way I can define my user interface, and I can define my validation rules to the needs of the project. But if I do so, let's have a little example. Let's have a look at this validation rule concerning the round length. If I decide to enter a value, just a moment. If I decide to enter a value for this round length which does not fit my rule, my validation rule, for example I set 4, then I get a hint which tells me what is wrong with this value, but still I'm able to save it. So Redpacks never denies to save the data, because we never know why this number has been entered by the geologist or by the user. So it could be that the validation rule is also not up to date anymore. So whatever you enter, you can be sure you can enter the value and you can save the value, but you have possibilities to check the values against the set of validation rules, and so find out later on which observations or which features follow the rules or which features does not follow the rule, and so you can correct them at a later time. Now we have one more topic to work through, which is working with associated data. Redpacks allows me to associate data of 3 different types right now to features and to observations. And how this is done I will show you in the next few minutes. I need some more windows to show you this. The first one is the window of the file depot, which is opened by the common ribbon, and in the last position you will find the file depot. I will set the file depot like this. And on the other side there is a window which is called associated data, opened by the button in the content ribbon, and I like to, this is the wrong way, I like to position the associated data on the bottom of my center area like this. And now let's open the geological heading phase documentation feature, and I will show you how to add files to an observation. If you look at the associated data window, there is also an info bar which shows you which feature or which observation currently is the one chosen to be associated with the data I add here on a later time. Right now I have selected the feature, geological heading phase documentation feature, and for example if I select this observation, then you will see here this information and this info bar will change, and now we have this feature, but also we have selected one certain observation with this very timestamp, and now if I add data to this window it will be associated with this observation. If I choose another feature in my feature browser, for example the second one, the groundwater level feature, then you will see the info bar in the associated data will change again, which means right now if I would associate some data, it would be associated to the feature groundwater level feature. And if I open the groundwater level feature to be able to select the stored observations, then now right after I select this feature you will see this information here will change. I select this observation and then I see here, okay, everything I do now is related to my feature groundwater level, but more than this is related to its observation with this very timestamp. So how can I add data, and which type of data can I add? Can I associate with features and observations? I have 3 types of data. The first one is an attachment, which is just a file. And to upload files I need my file depot. The file depot is a tool which gives me the possibility to upload data from my local machine to the server where Redpacks is installed on. And I have the possibility to add some file to my file depot. I for example, take this text file. Then this text file is going to be uploaded to my system and now is on the file depot on my server. And I can just now drag and drop the file to my associated data. And I can see now I have here an entry, the associated data in the tab attachments has one file, and this means this file is associated to this observation of my feature groundwater level. If I switch to the other feature again, I will see there is no file anymore. Even if I switch to the groundwater level, I don't see the file. I have to select this feature where I have associated data to, then the file name will be displayed here, and I can download the file if I would like to use it later on my local machine. The next type of associated data is a comment, which is just a text which can be added I misspelled the one. This now is a comment which again is concerning an observation, because I have selected this observation in my groundwater level feature, and now you see this comment is done. Only the manager has the possibility to delete comments. Every other user which does not have the grant manager is only able to revoke the comment, which means the comment still is stored, but just gets a flag revoked, which means it is not valid anymore, but it is not deleted. This is because we think it could be that some other user builds his decisions, makes some decision based on comments he had read here, he had read here, and if some other user would delete this comment, then the basis for this decision wouldn't be stored in the system anymore. And as we don't want this, we thought it's a good idea to just give a possibility for a user to revoke this comment, which means the user is not anymore of this meaning which he commented those in this comment, but the comment itself still is stored there. Anyway, the manager has the possibility to delete the comment if it's really not valid anymore, not needed anymore. The manager can delete comments. And then we have the possibility to add a link, which is just like this. Just add a link and associate a link to your observation or your feature, whatever you just have selected in your interface. So we're pretty much done for this session. I just have two more informations for you, two little tools which might be used by you to be more efficient. The first one is a special tool about opening features. We have seen already, to open a feature you either double click the feature or use the context menu and then the first menu entry open. But you have also the possibility to open the feature in a new instance, which means the same feature data is opened twice in another window. And then, for example, you would have the possibility to display them both side by side. And if you have multiple observations, you could select one observation here and just work on another observation on this window. And even if you're looking at the same feature type, you can work on different observations in the same time, which is from time to time very efficient to have this opportunity. This is done by opening the feature using the second menu entry, the second context menu entry, open as a new instance. Just try it out and work with it. And then for the last topic of this video session, I would show you that the feature edit window has also the possibility to show a customized feature editor window structure. For this, I would just like to create a document folder, feature, let's assign some spatial reference system to our new feature, and this feature has not only the standard interface for in the edit window, but also has a customized window. If we just open it, we will see that now the window has a different structure. We don't have the same structure as we have seen before, but anyway, we can also open this folder in the feature editor. Then again, we have the structure which we are used to. We have the structure of base data, extended data. Then observations are not valid for this feature type, but here we have some relations. Relations is meant that a document folder can have relations, of course, to documents, and the documents are other features. In one of the next sessions, we will learn more about relations and also concerning the document folder and the document feature itself, and about this customized feature editor windows. I would introduce you to try it out on your own. Please also have a view to our reference manual. You will find plenty of information there, and I'm quite sure you have a better idea about how RedBags works and about how the data is structured within RedBags.